My name is Heather and I'm from yogabyheather.com. And in today's video, we're going to do a tutorial on how to do the half pigeon pose. So I'm going to go over how to get into the pose, how to use some props like a blanket, a bolster, even some blocks, and how to help you with your half pigeon pose. And then also some different alternatives or variations to half pigeon pose for those of you that might have tighter hips, might have some knee issues, etc. There's a couple different variations that you can do. You can do it when you're doing classes with me. You can do them when you're doing classes at your own yoga studio, or if you're doing, classes in your own home yoga practice. All right. So these are going to be some great options for you. So half pigeon pose, one of the easiest ways, or one of the ways that most classes will have you come in to half pigeon pose, is you'll start from a downward dog. And I've got Cole here joining me. So we're going to try to keep him out of the way, but he does like to help. So if you have a dog, does your dog like to help too? So we're going to come to either a tabletop or a downward facing dog. And you're going to raise your right arm up, bringing your right knee to your right wrist, and then crossing your foot over to the other side and coming into the half pigeon pose. All right. So extending the leg, your left leg out straight out behind you. So if you turn and you look, it should be straight out behind you. You don't want to have any twists. Your foot doesn't want to be bent into a different direction. You want to look behind you, making sure everything is in alignment. Okay. So when you come into your half pigeon pose, if you have tighter hips or have any hip issues, you may feel like you want to roll over onto your hip here. Okay. And what we want to do is we want to prop ourselves up. So one thing that you can do is you can take a bolster, a blanket, a block, whatever you have handy, and you can place that right underneath your butt cheek, okay? And you can use that to help kind of roll you back into alignment for this half pigeon pose, okay? So as you can see, what I'm doing is I've got my hands flat on my mat. I've got a somewhat of a bend in my back. Now, I don't have a lot of flexibility in my back. Some of you may be able to come and hold the pose up here like this. You might have another set of blocks that you can come into the pose and you can hold it like this. You're going to do what feels best for you. Okay. So you want to find the variation of the pose where you really feel the stretch. You're going to feel the stretch in the extended leg, in your hip. You're going to feel that stretch there. And then you're going to feel a stretch here in your glute on the side that you do have it bent. Okay. So wherever it is that you feel the stretch, nothing should be painful. All right. So if you do have any knee issues or knee concerns, this might be a little too intense for you. All right. And so we've got a couple options for you. So I'm just going to remove this block here. You come back out of the pose, come back into your downward facing dog, your tabletop, whatever it might be. Okay. So we've got a couple different options. The first is a standing version of the half pigeon pose. And I'm going to grab my foam roller here. I am recovering from an injury. So my knee and ankle strength isn't the best. So I struggle a little bit with balance poses. So you can do the same thing if you struggle with balance. You can use the wall, whatever you need to use. I also use hiking sticks. I have hiking sticks in the back for when I'm practicing out there. So we're going to ground into either side, your left leg, your right leg, whichever side you're doing this on. I'm going to ground into my left leg, raising up my right knee to hip height, and then placing the ankle just above my knee, not on my knee joint, just above my knee joint, okay? It's just above my knee joint. And you can hold the pose here. You're going to get a very similar stretch in the side that's bent here. You're not going to feel it as much on, like if this were the leg that were stretched out behind me, you're not going to feel it as much here, but you're definitely going to get it on this side over here. So to extend this, if you wanted to extend this a little bit more, you can start to bend the left knee. So I'm bending the standing knee and coming down almost like into a chair position, like I'm going to sit on a chair. And that is going to help extend the stretch here on the right-hand side. Okay. So this is one option for you for doing the half pigeon pose. If, coming into it in the more traditional sense is a struggle for you. I've got knee issues. Maybe you've got them too. All right, we've got another option. We can come onto our backs. Oftentimes, if you're taking a yoga class, the instructor will oftentimes will cue you. They'll give you some instructions on how to get into pigeon pose from either that tabletop position or downward facing dog. And like I said, it's going to be bring your right ankle to your right wrist, crossing your leg over, bringing your left foot back. All right. That's generally how an instructor is going to have you come into the pose. So if you realize that, we're going into pigeon pose and it's a little bit of a struggle for you based on your knee, or if you have any knee injuries, hip injuries, just feel comfortable. It's okay. Coming on to your back, you're going to place your feet flat on the ground, coming into a supine position, laying on your back. And then what you'll do is, again, just depending on what feels best for you, raise your right leg up to the sky, bringing your right foot to your left knee. Again, not on your knee, just above the knee. And then you're going to feel that stretch in that same spot. You're going to get that same stretch, okay? Now, if you wanted to extend this, like when we were standing, we just bent like we were coming into a seated chair position. What you can do is you can take your right hand through your feet, grabbing your hands on the back side of your hamstring, and you can pull your legs into your chest wherever it feels best for you. Again, this should not hurt. If it hurts, you're doing too much. You should just feel a gentle stretch, it should feel good. It should feel like a good feeling. And then with your left leg, you can rotate your ankle, flex and release, whatever feels best for you. All right. And then you can release your feet down to the mat. All right. So, what I like to do in yoga class, so I have my own injury. I broke my tibia and fibula. So my left knee, I had surgery on it, my left knee and my left ankle. So I'm struggling a little bit on this side. So what I like to do in yoga class, when I'm going to a class, the instructor's having us do pigeon pose, what I do is I bring my right leg like I'm coming into an easy seated position, okay? And then bring my left leg up over on top of my right knee, all right? And so you can see here, I've got a little bit of space between my knee and my ankle right here. And some days when I'm tight, what I can do is I put a block in between my knee and my foot. That really helps with not feeling such an intense stretch in my hip, okay? Then when I do keep my back straight, raise my arms up overhead, that gives me a little bit of expansion in my vertebrae. Raise your arms up overhead and then just start to hinge forward at your hips. We're just hinging forward at the hips. As soon as you get to that point where you kind of feel that stretch, again, it's not painful, it doesn't hurt. You feel that stretch, you can just kind of relax and release your head, your chin to your chest, and your shoulders come forward, and then you can hold that pose. One other thing you can do here, take your other block, place it on your leg here, and then I just rest my forehead on the block, and that allows me to just simply rest my neck, rest my shoulders, and you can hold this, 5 to 8 breaths. It feels really good. And you can also hold it with a dog in your hands. All right. So, and then same thing, your instructor has you go to the other side. You're doing a class with me, you're doing a class at a yoga studio. The instructor has you go to the other side. Usually what he or she will do is bring you to, like a 3-legged dog and having you shake things out. This is what I do. I just kind of go like this while everybody's doing that. And then we do the same thing on the opposite side, bringing your left foot in, like we're going to do an easy seated position. Then bring your right foot up over the top of your left ankle. Again, you can see I've got some play here. So I just place a block in here, makes the stress a little less intense. And the same thing, I raise my arms up overhead and start to hinge forward at the hips till I feel the stretch. And then I relax my shoulders, relax my chin to my chest, and then hold the pose. All right. So that is half pigeon pose and a couple of different variations. If you are struggling with half pigeon pose, you want to do something else, you've got knee issues, hip issues, whatever it may be, You've got some options for you in a class. Again, if you are doing this in a yoga studio, feel free to do whatever feels best for you. Your instructor may be cueing you to do something else, but if this is what feels better for you, absolutely 100% go and do it. So again, my name is Heather from yogabyheather.com. This is Cole from my house. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and maybe even share this video with somebody who you think might find it helpful. So thank you. I'll talk to you soon.